Commissioner Malema, could you please try and moderate the tone of your voice? Thank you.
No, I don't understand that. I speak like this. I must moderate what? I speak like this. This is how I speak.
Now, Commissioner Malema, you are shouting now, not speaking.
No, but Chair, I speak like this. I can bring all types of videos you want to see of me speaking. I speak like this. I'm not fighting. He chairs these meetings all the time. He knows I speak like this. ACJ, I see that you have extended a courtesy to President Ramaphosa because the commission is the commission of the president, and the office established the commission, and it was President Zuma. Was the same courtesy extended to the former president? Where you go like you did with the current president. In terms of warm bodies, it's President Zuma who established the commission. Long before all the shenanigans started, the same way, the polite way, you went to the president, you talk to him, you show him whatever, then in the process you say you must come and also testify. Have you tried doing the same thing with President Zuma? President Zuma, that you may not be the president today, but that issue that you left us with is unfolding, is doing very well. At some point we'll want to have you there coming to testify. Because I don't know what was the arrangement or the environment between you and the current president. But courtesy would mean that, you know, that warm type of an approach, brotherly approach to say, well, we're here, and then at some point, please come and do the honorable thing.
Well, I didn't have a meeting with President Zuma. But remember that the current president was, because he was the president, I would meet him from time to time to tell him what was happening in the commission in terms of if there were challenges or if there was to be an extension. So it was one of those occasions when I told him. With regard to President Zuma, I think we wrote a letter to him or to his lawyers. I can't remember whether first to him or to his lawyers straight away, and invited him to come and give evidence. He took quite some time before he made up his mind whether he was going to come or not. Ultimately, he agreed to come. But I can't remember whether after he had agreed or before he agreed, he raised an issue and said, in terms of what rule was I inviting him to come? And I think my response was that this was a courtesy. We were not necessarily going to issue a summons. It was a courtesy. When he did come, he still made an issue about the fact that I had extended the courtesy and not said there should be a subpoena. I had simply written a letter. They made an issue. It was on TV. So they made me get the impression that they did not want me to act in any way other than in terms of the rules. But I'd taken the view that I should do that courtesy to him. I didn't know that he wasn't going to like it.
You have been to President Zuma's apartments or hotel rooms in Durban more than twice through your own statement that you issued or read in the...
Please just repeat, I didn't hear it.
You have been to President Zuma's hotel in Durban more than twice. That's the account you gave in the statement that you read during the recusal application on his invitation.
Well, I know that I remember one time, I don't know if it's twice, I didn't refresh my memory on the on the statement. But if you say that's what it says, then it must be so.
Yes, and then it was when you were a judge, and then President Zuma invites you to his hotel room twice or more than that, and then you go. Why was he inviting you? What were the issues?
Well, I haven't. Does the statement say it was a time when I was a judge? Maybe.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, let me put it this way. We knew each other, Mr. Zuma and I. So I think he called, or I got a message that he would like to see me. There was, as far as I'm concerned, no reason why I shouldn't agree to see him. I went to see him. But I can't remember, because that was much later, I can't remember what the issues may have been on that occasion. That was quite a long time ago.
No, acting CJ, as a judge called by such a prominent politician to his hotel room, it can't be a matter that you can easily forget. It's a memorable thing. I mean, I remember the day I met Mandela at his house. He said to me, if you want to lead society, you have to cut your stomach. It's too big for a youth president to be a president with a big stomach. And I had to make initiatives to meet that demand. So it's a memorable thing. I can't forget that. You can ask me of any prominent person I met when I was young. I remember that. There's no way I'm going to accept that explanation.
Mr. Commissioner Malema, I may have remembered if I was meeting President Mandela. President Zuma, I knew him, we had known each other. As I say, it might have been more than 20 years ago when that particular meeting happened.
Then you went to meet President Zuma again at his there was one time when I also asked for a meeting with him about the 13th or 14 years ago, when he was still out of government, and I met him in his forest town house in Johannesburg. On that occasion, I wasted to raise with him a matter that I considered of public importance. That was at his house in Forest Town. What is this matter of public interest?
Yes, no, that I can tell you what it was, firstly because I remember it, but also because I had a look at his affidavit in response to that statement, and I know that based on what he said in his response, he would not be taking a view that I should not say what that matter was. In a different situation, I might have been concerned whether if I went and had a private meeting with somebody, I would have to then say what we discussed in private. But because he has taken the view which I understood to be that he doesn't mind if I mention it, then I'm going to mention it. This was, I think it may have been 2008. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to check newspapers so I could refresh my memory. What had happened is that there had been some event or function where both you, Commissioner Malema, and Zuma were together somewhere. And you spoke at that event. Might have been, I don't know if it was a media conference or whatever, I have no recollection, but you spoke, and I think he was sitting next to you. And if I recall correctly, that's the occasion when you said you were prepared to kill for him. I was concerned about that statement insofar as it could bring violence in the country, particularly in terms of the atmosphere at that time. It troubled me, but I was more troubled by the fact that when he stood up to speak, he did not say anything to you to indicate that this was not right, to talk about killing for somebody in the context of whatever the issues were. After some days, I thought, well, I know him. What if this could end up leading to quite some violence? Maybe I should ask him if I can see him and talk about my concern. I made arrangements and he agreed. I went to see him. I told him that I was very concerned because regions, provinces, even a country could be thrown into a lot of violence if leaders do not speak to their supporters and dissuade them from making any statements about violence. I talked to him about the violence that we in KwaZulu-Natal had, which he knew. I think I may have spoken to him about violence in other countries. And I indicated that I was concerned about it as a citizen. I was concerned in case we ended up with violence. I thought that he should have spoken to you. He listened to me, and I give him credit. He understood, but my recollection is that he said he had not spoken to you in public, but he spoke to you in private. That's my recollection. I was simply concerned about the possibility of violence.
I knew that that was the case, and I viewed that as a pure political interference by a judge, because that was a statement made in a political rally. And you left, you went to meet President Zuma to discuss my political position as a judge, and you proceeded to sit on matters where the organization I lead, and I looked at you, the organization I lead came to litigate against President Zuma. You have never indicated to court that you knew President Zuma like that, to a point where you can even discuss political issues with him. On 2 court cases that we brought before the Constitutional Court, you said there, never declared like everybody declares here that they know you in this way or that way. You never said, one of the respondents in this case, I know him like this, to a point where I had a political discussion with him about the leader of this political party. Don't you think that that was unethical for you to, one, to go and discuss a political statement with a politician as a sitting judge, 2, to go and listen to court cases involving the 2 politicians without declaring that you know the other side of the case?
Well, no, I don't share that view, Commissioner Malema. This was a concern about a statement made by you at the time, at the age at which you were. As a citizen, I was concerned, and it didn't mean that I had nothing against you. My concern was that he should have dealt with the matter in a certain way because we should not have violence. And I didn't have anything against you, so I wasn't going to be conflicted. I don't know how many years later in hearing a matter involving an organization that you formed many years later. I wasn't going to be conflicted at all.
But ACJ, here is a story that you go and discuss another politician with another politician, and later on, it comes out that this judge who's sitting here has got strong views about you. And he sits here to listen to an affidavit that is signed by you. You are the face of this case. Don't you think that it is actually not in the best interest of the judiciary and for the judges to go and discuss other politicians? Because if you're bringing age, at the age I was, it's immaterial to me. I'm a politician, I'm a president of an organization even at that time. I was not a leader of a crèche. I was a political leader of an organization with a rich history in this country. And for you to go as a judge to discuss another politician with another politician, that amounts to bringing the judiciary into disrepute. Because now when it comes out is, this judge holds an extreme political views about you. It doesn't matter how many years after. And when we say, why, how? No, he drove all the way to come and talk about you, and he was a sitting judge. Is that not, does that help to enhance the good image of the judiciary, or in what way does it help to improve the good standing of the judiciary in society?
I don't think it creates a problem at all, Commissioner Malema. I think as a citizen, I am entitled, if violence maybe is threatened and I know somebody who can do something to prevent people being killed and so on, I think I'm entitled, even if I'm a judge, if I know that person, I'm entitled to go to that person and say, please, we don't want violence. If there is violence, ordinary people will suffer, will be killed, and of course they might not agree, but I think as a citizen, I'm entitled to do that. And I've never held any strong views against you, Commissioner Malema, political or otherwise. Actually, I have respect for you. So I've never had any strong views against you. You have a certain way of dealing with issues, a certain way of dealing with matters. Sometimes some people don't like it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ACJ. I've got a very serious problem when I raise issues and I get to be loved by everyone. I'm not money. I will never be loved by everyone. And those who brought me up politically were never loved by everyone. Fought for this country, got ill-treated to their graves. So I'm not in a business of trying to impress everybody. I'm here to pursue that which I think is right. Others will be happy, others won't be happy. It is their own baby to feed Malta Bella. I'm not in that business. Now, I want to go back to the earlier thing of meeting President Zuma in the hotel. This had to be so because we will normally interact when we meet at the opening of parliament or other government or state functions. However, there were 2 or so occasions when Mr. Zuma was not in government, when I asked for a meeting with and I agreed to. When he asked for a meeting with and I agreed to him, I think that this would have been somewhere between 2005 and 2007. He was staying in a hotel in Durban, and I met him. There was one time when I was also asked for a meeting with him about 13 or 14 years ago, when I was still out of government. This is what we spoke about. So you remember that you met him between this and that in a hotel in Durban twice. I accept that Zuma is not Mandela, but when you come from KZN, Zuma is the Mandela of KZN. That's why you even speak about the role he played in dealing with violence in KZN. There is no way you can be called by President Zuma twice in a hotel. You remember the years, you remember that it was in a hotel, you remember he was not in government, you don't remember what you were discussing with President Zuma at that time. I know, but there is a rule here that you don't give people, you don't raise issues that we didn't raise with you before. But you, on your own volition, please, ACJ, take the country into confidence. President Zuma asked to see you twice in a hotel. You agreed to go and meet him, and you remember all of those details. The only detail in 2 meetings you don't remember is why President Zuma wanted to meet you.
Well, I certainly don't remember them, Commissioner Malema. The one that I remember, I've told you. I've told the Commission the one that I remember.
ACJ, I'm worried that it becomes very easy for you to descend into the political arena. One is these meetings that you had with President Zuma to discuss politics. 2 is these meetings that you have with ease with President Ramaphosa to discuss this and even go beyond of discussing how he's going to appear and all of that. And anyone who says Ramaphosa's appearance was staged, I'm tempted to agree with them, because you met him before, and then you now have a press conference to engage politicians in public, descending into the arena. Are we going to have a Chief Justice that gets easily available to meet politicians at their own comfort? We don't know what gets to be discussed there, and when we ask, they don't remember. Will that not even put this judiciary in a more crisis than it is now? Because research has been presented here that people are losing confidence in the judiciary. With an ACJ that visits politicians with ease, I mean, I heard others saying it's easy for you to call a minister and all of that. Those things of ministers are insignificant. We're talking presidents here, so we're not talking those ministers, this and that. Presidents, whereas those that are implicated in what you are presiding over. You meet them with ease. You discuss with them with ease. It shouldn't be easy for any judge, that's my view, to be available to meet a politician. And shouldn't be easy for any politician to be available to meet any judge, unless they are prepared, when that matter is exposed, to disclose publicly with ease what was the meeting about. I'm living here with discomfort that you are a sitting judge, you met a high-profile politician in a hotel twice. You remember all the details. The only thing that cannot be remembered is what was discussed. I don't think that helps to get you to be the CJ of our country if such small details cannot be remembered.
Commissioner Malema, I think you have made your point. Acting Chief Justice admits to having had those meetings, but cannot remember exactly what was discussed at those meetings. He explains why he had to see the president of the country on official business, as I understood him, about the work of the commission established by the current president's predecessor. I think you have made your point. If there is anything to be said about this matter, it can be said during our deliberations.
I accept that, Chair.
Thank you.
Let me make the last point on a different matter. Acting CJ, you are now the Deputy Chief Justice. And when we appoint you as a Chief Justice, as a proponent of transformation, how does that help with regard to transformation? Which box are we going to tick when we are given a form of transformation and say, hey, his appointment, which box does it tick here in terms of what you are trying to do with regard to transformation? And exactly in the same vein, shouldn't we hang our head in shame as a country and as black men and African men who were oppressed together with women and African women being oppressed 3 times than us, that we have a judiciary for almost 30 years, which has never produced a female Chief Justice. Not because it's a female, but because she's qualified, and we've had so many women who are qualified to be the Chief Justices of this country. But till to date, we've never had one, even with the candidates that the President has presented before us. Just gave us one option and never said to us there are more than one woman to be interviewed here, so that we can be spoiled of choice before we turn 30 years into democracy to have a female judge president. What does your appointment help us with in terms of the transformation of the judiciary? I think that is my question. And my last question, I won't even come back.
Well, Commissioner Malema, I am here because it seems to me the President wanted to have a choice when he makes a decision as to who should be the next Chief Justice. He considered that I am worthy of being included in that list. I consider that it's good that this commission should have also an options and a choice. Ultimately, what the President decides, it will be his prerogative. But he will look at whatever factors that he needs to look at, including transformation, and make his decision. In terms of my candidacy, my CV is before you. The questionnaire that I've filled is there. My track record is there as a judge, as a leader. But the decision is that of this commission and is that of the President.
Thank you, ACJ. Thank you, Chair.
What are your thoughts? Did you like or hate what you heard? Let us know in the comments below.
You can directly support us and this new series by joining our membership program or fans membership subscription on the button below. Visit our news website weloveafrica.net to stay updated with all the latest African developments and future events. Remember to share, like, and leave your comments below.